Bet horse racing on DRF Bets. We'll match your first deposit of $200. Get free expert picks and past performances, plus weekly cash back. All from Daily Racing Form, the most trusted name in horse racing. Hi everybody, Dan Illman, Mike Beer. The feature race at Oaklawn Park on Saturday, named after one of our favorite race mares when we were growing up, the Grade 3 Bayakoa. Let's take a look at this field. It could be an important prep race later on this Oaklawn meet for the Apple Blossom Stakes. $250,000 is the purse. We have a field of 7 in here, and the number 1, Amore. Grade 1 placed for Todd Pletcher as a 2-year-old. No surprise then, as a young daughter of Uncle Mo, that she sold for $400,000 in November, and she immediately paid dividends for new connections, taking a stake at the fairgrounds.
Yeah, I thought this was a pretty interesting race, mostly because the one Amore is the favorite, Dan. To me, she's a really good horse to try to beat in this race if she goes off at a short price. I realized that her most recent start, first for Brad Cox, I realized that it got a pretty solid figure there off the turf, but I don't know how good this horse is, and I feel like there are some other interesting rivals in here for her.
Let's take a look at the Timeform US pace projector. I think Amore can be somewhat adaptable to the pace, and Timeform US has her just off of it. Grayson's Macho Gal didn't get to the lead last time out when she was wired by Lovely Ride, but I have a feeling she's going to be a lot more aggressively ridden this time around.
Yeah, maybe they will just try to make sure she gets there. The horse that beat her to the lead last time is also back in this field, Dan, and I think it would be pretty surprising if they tried to change tactics with the 7, Lovely Ride. At the end of the day, the number 5 in this race just could not get to the lead last time, even though they looked like they were trying to get there. We'll see if she can make it this time.
Amore is 5-2. She's the number 1. Florent Giroux takes the mount. We've talked about her. She did win that stake in an off-the-turf race at the fairgrounds. Like you, I've never been her biggest fan, but if you don't like the horses based at Oaklawn, I guess you can say she's the most likely alternative.
Yeah, exactly. You can do that. I think it's a pretty dangerous game to play to take the favorite just, under those kinds of circumstances. But she did run an 88 buyer last time, first time out for Brad Cox. And maybe that's, going to wind up being the most important thing, Dan. Maybe Cox just improved her, and we'll find out more about her in this race because, listen, Pletcher had her for a long time. Pletcher knows what he's doing. This horse was not good, really that good at all when Pletcher had her, and I kind of want to see her do it again off of that Pago hop.
So while Amore sold for $400,000 at public auction, the number 2, Guana Key, was claimed for $40,000 out of her most recent race. It was a poly-track race at Turfway. Her dirt form just seems to be much better. She's 7 for 17 lifetime on dirt. That being said, she's taking a huge step up in class.
Exactly. I like her getting back to dirt in this race. We'll see if she can improve a lot off the claim here, because based on her overall form, it just looks like this race is going to be way too tough for her.
One could argue that the number 3, Ice Orchid, has the most upside potential of any of the fillies and mares in this year's Bayakoa. She was second in the Chaluki 2 starts back at Churchill Downs. She was second in the Pippin last time out. She got wired in the Pippin by Lovely Ride, a race in which the top 2 finishers just dominated all the way around the track over a speed-favoring surface. Ice Orchid had her shot in the stretch, couldn't get by.
Yeah, true enough. I mean, she didn't have a real excuse last time. She still ran pretty well in that race, though. They did concede to Lovely Ride early. They were happy to take up that tracking position off of her, and then they just couldn't gun her down in the stretch. But I still thought she ran well. I thought she ran fine in the Chaluki as well. 2 starts back in that 1-turn mile. And overall, I disagree with you, Dan. It feels like there's upside here. She was actually, it started out as a pretty good horse, I felt like. I thought she was okay in the Honeybee right off her maiden win, and unfortunately, she missed time after that.
Powder River is up next, and she's the number 4. And maybe she's an interesting pace player in here, Mike. She's very consistent. She's hit the board in something like her last 13 starts, and she showed speed 2 starts back, winning a second-level allowance at Churchill. They were patient with her last time out, and she earned a stakes placing. Maybe needs a little bit of a buyer boost, but she's not too far off it.
I agree. She's not impossible in here, and maybe you'll get a better price than the morning line has her pegged at. Dan, I found it hard to get that interested in her at the 5-1, but we'll see. Maybe you'll get a better price than that. I think you can expect her to show up, but she's also got plenty to prove as they try her in another stakes race here. And she is a filly or a mare who's 3 for 21 with 11 seconds and thirds.
Grayson's Macho Gal, the number 5, the expected pace setter according to Timeform US. She hasn't won a race since late summer 2021. She did earn a stakes placing last year at Prairie Meadows. Her best game is her speed. If she uses it and gets to the front, she has a chance in this race. I'm not sure she can beat this field rating.
Yeah, I don't think she can. I think she proved that in the Pippin last time, where she didn't make the lead, did get in, a little bit tight there around the first turn, and she just didn't look that comfortable to me racing from behind horses. So I'm assuming they're going to try to make the lead with her here, Dan, and then we'll just see if she's good enough. I have my doubts about her. She's won 4 times. 3 of those wins have come just in absolute blowout fashion. So it kind of feels like when things go her way, she's capable of a pretty big performance, but I just felt like she might be in too tough here.
Little pace could go a long way for the number 6, Lida Vida, who was 3rd last time out in the Pippin. And again, the Pippin was a race over a speed-favoring track. They ran 1-2 all the way around. This horse was the only one making up any sort of late ground. I wish she changed leads in the stretch, but she looks like she's coming into this race in good form for very underrated connections.
Yeah, I mean, so far she hasn't changed leads in any of her 4 starts since she's arrived up here. So I guess she's just not going to do it, Dan. She did run pretty well last time. And she has a couple of figures that also make her a contender in here. And I just kind of feel like maybe you can expect this race to get a little bit more competitive early than that last one was. And if it is, she should be running late.
The number 7, Lovely Ride, returned from a summer vacation at Oaklawn, immediately won 2 stakes for Robertino Diodoro, both of them on the lead. She'll probably be aggressively ridden from the outside post again. Here's the Pippin, the race we were talking about. Lovely Ride just got to the front in this race. Ice Orchid sat in 2nd. You're going to see Lida Vida get through along the inside eventually and get out for 3rd. Lovely Ride ran fine in this race, Mike. The question is, did the track really sort of take her all the way to the wire here?
Right. And will she, sort of be handed the lead again in this spot? Because I feel like once they did that last time, I think you might get a little bit of a change in tactics from some of the other horses back in this race. Dan, I have no knocks on her last 2 starts. She ran pretty well in both of them, and she looks like a major player right back.
Let's take a look at our top selections for the Grade 3 Bayakoa, the feature race at Oaklawn on Saturday. Mike, you're going with Ice Orchid. She has been banging on the door. Let's see if she can kick it down.
Yeah, I thought she ran well last time. I think she has another forward move in her. I think this pace might get a little bit more competitive also, and I think that will help her chances as well. I just think this is a really good spot for her. She's a great price on the morning line, and I hate the morning line favorite.
I'm a little bit concerned about potential difference in race flow and track bias. I thought the track did help Lucky Ride last time out. She is versatile. She has sat from off the pace in the past, and she's been really sharp since returning to Oaklawn for Diodoro. I think she might have one more left in her. 3716 for Mike, 7361 for me, and the Bayakoa at Oaklawn on Saturday. Best of luck.